When they arrived in the United Kingdom, they had no money, no contacts, no guarantees. Only fear, hope, and 2 worn suitcases carried through crowded airport corridors. She would soon be cleaning other people's homes. He would spend endless nights in hot restaurant kitchens, washing plates that never seemed to end. They spoke little English. They knew no one. They had no safety net. At that moment, standing in a foreign country they barely understood, they had no idea if they had just made the biggest mistake of their lives or the bravest decision they would ever make. This is not a fairy tale. This is not a story of fast success. It is a true story of exhaustion, doubt, perseverance, humiliation, and slow transformation. A story lived by millions of immigrants around the world, but only few dare to tell with honesty. From cleaning bathrooms and washing dishes to becoming business owners, homeowners, and financially stable in one of the most competitive countries in the world, this is their journey. Before the United Kingdom, their lives were marked by limitation and routine. Back in their home country, they were not lazy. They worked hard, very hard. But no matter how much they worked, progress felt almost impossible. Wages were low, prices kept rising. At the end of every month, money disappeared before plans could even begin. They lived from payday to payday, watching opportunities pass from a distance. They shared a modest home. The furniture was old, appliances often broke down. Unexpected expenses created constant stress. They dreamed of owning a home one day, but deep inside, they both knew that dream felt unrealistic in that environment. Friends around them accepted that reality as normal. Life is like this, people said. But inside their hearts, something resisted that idea. They wanted more than survival. They wanted dignity, stability, and the chance to build something that would last. The conversations about leaving the country began quietly. At first, they were just distant thoughts. Then they became late-night discussions. Finally, they turned into serious planning. They researched visas, they watched videos of people who had emigrated, they heard both success stories and horror stories. Fear never left them. Fear of failing, fear of losing everything, fear of being alone in a strange land. But one fear became stronger than all the others. The fear of staying exactly where they were forever. That fear pushed them forward. The day they left their country was filled with mixed emotions. There were tears at the airport, long hugs, promises to return soon, words of encouragement mixed with silent worry. Their families tried to be strong, but fear was visible in their eyes. The flight felt endless. With each passing hour, the reality of what they were doing became heavier. They were leaving everything behind for something completely uncertain. When they finally landed in London, excitement quickly gave way to shock. The cold wind, the gray sky, the unfamiliar sounds, the signs in a language they barely understood. Everything felt overwhelming. They stayed in a small shared room arranged through a distant contact. The space was tight, the beds were old, the walls were thin, privacy did not exist. But it was all they could afford. The first few nights were restless. They lay awake listening to the noise of the city, cars, sirens, voices speaking a language they could not yet understand. Their minds were full of questions. Would they find work? Would the money last? Would they survive? They had arrived with hope, but reality arrived with a cold, unforgiving speed. Work became the only priority. Survival did not allow delay. She found her first cleaning job through a small agency. Very early mornings, long rides on buses and underground trains, heavy bags of cleaning products, houses that were not hers, lives that were not hers. Yet she cleaned every corner with dedication. Bathrooms, kitchens, carpets, windows, kneeling on cold floors, carrying buckets of water, sometimes being treated with kindness, sometimes being treated with indifference. Many people did not even look at her face. She was simply the cleaner. He, meanwhile, began work in a restaurant kitchen. The sounds were constant: shouting, metal clashing, water running, orders being called out at impossible speed. His job was simple in theory: wash, stack, repeat. But in practice, it crushed the body. The shifts were long. The heat was unbearable. Mistakes were punished with shouting. Breaks were rare. At the end of each shift, his hands trembled from exhaustion. His back burned with pain. His clothes were always soaked. They saw each other briefly each day, often only at night, too tired to speak much, yet they supported each other with silent understanding. They learned to count every pound. They avoided any spending that was not absolutely essential. They bought the cheapest food. They learned which supermarkets reduced prices at night. They lived with constant calculation. Loneliness became a quiet companion. There was no one to talk to freely, no family nearby, no familiar comfort, only work, sleep, and survival. Months passed, and then came the collapse. Work became unstable. Some clients canceled. The restaurant lost staff and reduced hours. Income dropped suddenly and without warning. At the same time, expenses increased. Rent went up, transport costs rose, food prices climbed. Then illness arrived. She became unwell and was forced to stay home for days. No work meant no income. Savings, which had taken months of sacrifice to build, disappeared in weeks. One evening, sitting on their beds in silence, they counted their remaining money. The number on the small notebook page filled them with dread. Less than £200. Rent was due in days. Bills were piling up. For the first time since arriving, the idea of returning home felt real, not as a distant fear, but as an imminent possibility. Shame hit harder than fear. They had told everyone they were going to build a better life. Now they faced the possibility of returning with nothing but debt and disappointment. Long nights followed, conversations filled with tears, mental exhaustion, physical exhaustion, the kind of exhaustion that reaches the soul. They stood at the edge of giving up. The turning point did not arrive with fireworks. It arrived with information. Through another immigrant they met during one of their cleaning jobs, they learned about independent work, small private clients, weekend jobs, cash payments, no agencies taking commissions. At first, the offers were tiny: one job, then two, then three. The money was not much, but it was consistent. They began working 7 days a week. No weekends, no days off, no rest, only the long-term goal in mind. With this small additional income, they paid overdue bills. They stabilized rent. They avoided eviction by days. Slowly, breathing became easier again. For the first time, instead of living week by week, they started thinking month by month. They began studying in every free moment: late-night videos, articles about small businesses, legal requirements, taxes, client management. They did not understand everything, but they learned what mattered. Structure creates freedom. After months of preparation, they took another risk. They registered a small service business. It was terrifying. They signed documents with shaking hands. They committed to something bigger than survival. Now failure would cost even more, but success would finally be possible. The first months of the business were chaotic. They made mistakes. They underpriced services. They faced difficult clients. Equipment broke. Bookings were canceled at the last minute. There were weeks when they questioned everything again. But slowly, consistency produced results. Clients began recommending them. Online reviews improved. Their reputation grew quietly but steadily. Income stabilized, then increased. For the first time, they could save while paying all bills on time. They moved to a small studio flat. No more shared room. No more strangers. Privacy returned. Silence returned. Dignity returned. They bought a modest second-hand car. It meant independence, faster commuting, more clients in one day.
more control over their time. They were still far from wealthy, but they were no longer desperate. They were building.
The turning point in their lives did not arrive with celebration. It did not come with applause. It came quietly, disguised as another exhausting day. Nothing extraordinary happened that morning. The alarm rang at the same time. The sky was the same gray. The body carried the same tiredness. But something inside them had changed. By that time, they had already spent years repeating the same routine. Early mornings, long travels, physically demanding work, endless shifts, little rest. What changed was not their situation, it was their mindset. Slowly, almost unnoticed, they began to understand something fundamental. They could not remain only workers forever. They needed to become builders. They started asking different questions, not just how do we survive another month, but how do we change our future? They began observing people around them, not with envy, but with strategy. They noticed patterns. They noticed decisions. They noticed sacrifices made long before success appeared. And for the first time, they allowed themselves to believe that growth was possible for them too. They began with something small, almost insignificant. Saving a little here, studying a little at night, learning with mistakes, asking questions, listening more than speaking. Many nights while the city slept, they were awake, not because of fear, but because of purpose. They traded comfort for progress. They traded entertainment for education. They traded immediate relief for long-term freedom. Mistakes were made. Money was lost. Confidence was tested. Some plans failed. Some ideas did not work. Some people discouraged them openly. You're dreaming too big. You should be grateful for what you already have. People like us don't change levels. But they had already crossed a line in their minds. Returning to ignorance was no longer an option. Each small failure taught them more than years of routine ever did. Each loss made them more cautious, not weaker. Each doubt pushed them to study more, plan better, and move wiser. Gradually, something unexpected happened. They began to earn not just with their hands, but with their decisions. Income started to change. Opportunities began to appear. New people entered their lives, not because of luck, but because when your mindset changes, your environment responds. They stopped seeing themselves only as immigrants with simple jobs. They began to see themselves as projects in construction. And once you see yourself differently, you start acting differently. Their conversations changed, their priorities changed, their habits changed. The world around them still saw just a cleaner and a dishwasher, but inside, entrepreneurs were being formed. There were still bad months. There were still bills to pay with difficulty. There were still moments of fear, but there was no longer despair, because now they had direction. They no longer worked only to survive. They worked to build. They no longer accepted every condition silently. They negotiated, they planned, they positioned themselves. Every small step forward carried the weight of years of silent struggle behind it. And without realizing it, the foundation of everything they live today was being poured exactly in this phase, the phase where nothing looks successful yet. This is the most dangerous phase of any journey, because this is when you are no longer who you used to be, but you are not yet who you will become. And many people give up right here, not because they failed, but because they grow impatient. They didn't. They stayed. They endured the awkward middle, the slow middle, the uncertain middle. The middle where nobody notices your growth, the middle where rewards are not visible yet. The middle where faith must be stronger than logic. And it was within this silent season that everything truly began to change. Today, their lives look unrecognizable compared to the day they arrived in the United Kingdom with trembling hands, 2 worn-out suitcases, and a heart full of uncertainty.
They no longer wake up afraid of the rent deadline. They no longer count coins before buying food. They no longer live with that silent anxiety that follows those who survive instead of live. Today, they plan. They dream again. They choose instead of merely accepting. They help their families back home. They travel without fear. They sleep without the weight of tomorrow crushing their chest. And yet, despite everything they have conquered, they have never forgotten who they were when nobody knew their names and nobody cared about their efforts. Because success did not erase the pain, it transformed it. Every comfortable night carries the memory of cold floors. Every full table carries the memory of hunger. Every quiet moment carries the memory of the storms they had to face alone. There were nights when giving up felt like mercy. There were mornings when they stood up only out of obligation, not strength. There were weeks when exhaustion became their normal state, and there were moments when dignity was tested in ways only those who have migrated truly understand. They were ignored. They were underestimated. They were treated as invisible. But even invisible, they kept going. Their story was not born from luck. It was carved by discipline, by humiliations swallowed and silence, by tears wiped away before every shift, by hope that refused to die even when logic said it should. They had no guarantees, no safety nets, no applause. Only one thing sustained them. They refused to stop. And that is where most stories end, before they even truly begin, because most people quit not when they fail, but when they grow tired of believing. They did not. They endured the phase nobody posts on social media, the phase of shame, doubt, fatigue, and loneliness. The phase where progress is invisible, the phase where faith is the only currency that still works. And this is the part nobody tells you openly. Success abroad is not just about opportunity. It is about surviving the emotional cost of the journey. The silence, the isolation, the feeling of being far from everything that once defined you. Many people travel seeking a better life. Few are prepared to lose the old one completely before building the new one. They lost it, and they rebuilt themselves from dust. If you are watching this right now feeling lost, exhausted, questioning your own choices, or wondering if your sacrifices are meaningless, this story is for you. Because before stability comes chaos, before confidence comes fear, before abundance comes deprivation, before arrival comes a long season of being completely lost. You may be in your washing dishes phase. You may be in your cleaning houses phase. You may be in your working 3 jobs and still struggling phase. You may be in your no one believes in me phase. But none of these phases are your identity. They are only transitions. Your present moment is not your final destination. Their lives changed on the day they decided to stay when everything said leave. They worked when their bodies begged for rest. They trusted when reality mocked their faith. They chose stamina over comfort and persistence over pride. And slowly, painfully, quietly, everything shifted. No fireworks, no applause, no sudden miracle. Just consistency. Day after day, month after month, year after year. Until one day, they looked around and realized they were no longer surviving. They were living. And that transformation changed not just their bank account, it changed their identity. They were no longer defined by what they lacked. They were defined by what they overcame. If this story reached your heart in any way, keep this truth close. Your struggle is not proof that you are failing. It is proof that you are in the process of becoming. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are being forged. And maybe one day, someone else will hear your story and feel hope rise again because of what you endured without giving up.
If you believe in real transformation, if you believe that ordinary people can still achieve extraordinary things, if you believe that persistence can still rewrite destinies, then subscribe to this channel for more true immigrant stories like this one. And now, before you leave, answer this in the comments. Where are you watching from today? Are you in the beginning of your journey or already in the middle of your struggle? Your story matters, and it might be shared here one day.